Welcome, friends, disciples, and devotees, to our New Year's message, 2021, on prayer and devotion, part 2, from the Mother. Self-giving is true prayer. Self-giving, by this the whole being gets progressively unified round the central psychic being. Give yourself up. It is the best way of finding yourself. Give yourself all that you are and what you do to the divine, and you will have peace. Give yourself entirely to the divine, and you will see the end of all your troubles. The whole of our life should be a prayer offered to the divine. When coming out of sleep, you must keep quiet for a few moments and consecrate the coming day to the divine, praying to remember him always and in all circumstances. Before going to sleep, you must concentrate for a few minutes, look into the day that has passed, remember when and where you have forgotten the divine, and pray that such forgettings should not happen again. It is never in vain that an ardent and sincere prayer is addressed to the divine's grace. We have now a question from a disciple to the Mother. Sri Aurobindo says in one letter, all prayer, rightly offered, brings us closer to the divine and establishes right relation with him. What is meant by rightly offered in this letter? Will you please elucidate? Mother replies, with humility and sincerity. It goes without saying that all bargaining spirit is an insincerity that takes away all value from the prayer. Lord, God of beauty and harmony, grant that we may become instruments worthy of manifesting thy supreme beauty in the world. This is our prayer and our aspiration. The same thing for the urge of prayer. All at once a flame lights up. You have an enthusiastic push, a great fervor, and you express that in words that must be spontaneous if they are to be true. It must come from the heart, with ardor, straight, without passing through the head. That is a prayer. If they are merely words that jostle in your head, it is no longer a prayer. Now, if you do not throw fuel into the flame, it will die out after a time. You go to the Samadhi, look at Sri Aurobindo's picture. You come to receive a flower from me, sit down to a lesson. You do everything you do, but with one question within you, why? And then, if you ask the question, you receive the answer. Why? Because we don't want life as it is any longer. Because we don't want falsehood and ignorance any longer. Because we do not want disorder and bad will any longer. Because Sri Aurobindo has come to tell us it is not necessary to leave the earth to find truth. It is not necessary to leave life to find one's soul. It is not necessary to give up the world or have limited beliefs in order to enter into relation with the divine. The divine is everywhere, in everything. And if he is hidden, it is because we do not take the trouble to discover him. We can, simply by a sincere aspiration, open a sealed door in us and find that something which will change the whole significance of life, reply to all our questions, solve all our problems, and lead us to the perfection we aspire. For without knowing it, to that reality which alone can satisfy us and give us joy, equilibrium, strength, life. All this you have heard many a time. You have heard it. Oh, there are even some here who are so used to it that for them it seems to be the same thing as drinking a glass of water or opening a window to let in the sunlight. But since I promised you that in 5 years you would be able to live these things, to have a concrete, real, convincing experience of them, well, that means you ought to be ready and that we are going to begin. We have tried a little, but now we are going to try seriously. The starting point, to want it, truly want it, to need it. The next step, to think above all of that. A day comes very quickly when one is unable to think of anything else. That is the one thing which counts. And then one formulates one's aspiration, lets the true prayer spring up from one's heart, the prayer which expresses the sincerity of the need. And then, well, one will see what happens. Something will happen. Surely something will happen. For each one, it will take a different form. Namaste. And again, Happy New Year 2021 to all of you, with my love and prayers at their feet.